Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, the supermarkets have collectively written a letter to Rachel Reeves. All of them, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrison's, Co-op, Waitrose, Marks, and Sparks. They're all there. If you can think of a co-op of a supermarket chain, they've written. They're all in on this letter, and they're saying that her plans to put in a 1.7 billion pounds tax raid on supermarkets is going to backfire spectacularly. It's going to undoubtedly raise the cost of food. It will undoubtedly lead to some stores closing, which could, particularly in lower socio-economic areas, mean that the only supermarket in that area will close, leading to a food desert, because the only places selling will be smaller stores, which are inevitably more expensive, which of course harms directly the poorer in society, because food represents a larger proportion of their income. And the trade body, the Food and Drink Wholesale UK, have said this is an incredibly bad idea. And it's all to do with tinkering with rates, business rates. Basically, anything that's under £500,000 in terms of rateable value is going to have a very slight reduction in business rates, but anything over is going to have a large increase. Now, this bill was originally brought in to basically aimed at Amazon, but of course, it's capturing up all these big stores. And if you think somewhere like, say, some of the leafy areas of Surrey, perhaps, and you've got a large Tesco supermarket there, the big extra ones, the big supersized ones. I mean, its rateable value will be into the maybe tens of millions. So that's going to represent a massive increase in rates. Now, the supermarkets aren't going to suck this up. They need to put the prices up to cover it, which means food inflation is going through the roof. So that's going to affect everyone, but it's going to affect the poorer more, because that's how these things work. And they have to put it up. They can't absorb because they need to maintain share price. You do that by making sure that your shares pay a particular dividend. And they need the share price at that rate because if they want to open up a new store, they need to have investment. They need to show it's there. And that's done on the backing of the share price. If the share price falls, they pay more for the money, for the loan, for the extension of credit or whatever, to build that store. They don't want to do that. They want to get it as cheap as possible. So the food prices will go up, and up significantly. It could add 5 or 6% on top of it's already sitting between 6 and 8% for food inflation. So you could be looking at massive food inflation. As I say, this could end up with people actually going malnourished in this country, thanks to Rachel Reeves purposefully taxing the poor, because that's who's going to be paying this disproportionately more. Now, they're all against this. They're all saying it will lower margins, which will have to be recouped by higher prices. They're saying that it will undoubtedly lead to store closures, meaning more people unemployed, but also affecting local areas significantly in terms of the ability to get food cheaply. And they say it's actually unnecessary. If they just cut spending, it would actually help. They're saying that they understand it was done to protect the high streets, basically by attacking Amazon. But it's doing no such thing. It's actually just demolishing the high streets. And a lot of the smaller stores, the little Tesco Express or I think Sainsbury's Locals or whatever they call them, may be forced to close. Literally cannot afford to stay open. They don't do enough trade with the extra burden of this tax. So who knows? Now, there's no cap. Like the current rate, there is a cap on how much the rates go up to. This new one, there is no cap. So as the rateable value increases, as do the rates increase, but limitlessly. There's no upper limit. So what are the supermarkets going to do? Well, they're just going to put it onto the price of the food. And if you're hungry, look to number 11, where you'll see a very well-fed Chancellor of the Exchequer, very sleek, fat, licking her lips, eating all the food she can get. She can afford it, can't she, on her 140,000 a year, plus her, 200,000 a year income from other roles and whatever, and being a landlord, etc. Nice. They're all well fed, aren't they? They're all piling on. Angela Rayner's piling on. She's not going hungry. Lammy, my God, eats like a horse, doesn't he? Or probably eats a horse, doesn't he? They're all fat, sleek, filling their boots and making life miserable for everyone else. Bye.